We're live. All right. Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
We're super excited because we get to talk today about what's coming in 2025 on YouTube and what's changing for us. Because there's so much that changes in the YouTube world. There's new features and stuff, obviously, but there's new trends and things. And we've been working super hard lately to revamp what we teach, making all sorts of new content, streamlining things.
It's crazy how much can change on YouTube. And there are some core principles that really do stay the same for a long time. But things are constantly changing, not only the way YouTube is running things. I mean, the engineers are constantly making tweaks, and we've experienced a lot of that this last year. And we know of a lot more that's to come next year. But also just user behavior kind of changes the appropriate strategies. And there are just trends in user behavior and features that all contribute to strategy changing quite a bit.
Yeah, like you may have heard this year, people started talking a whole lot the last few months about make longer content because people are watching on TV. And so all the big YouTubers are making longer content. And you could go all in on that, but the next trend is going to be around the corner. And the thing is, that's all comes down to the user behavior. It's not something that YouTube changed. YouTube will try to capitalize on that kind of stuff, but it's not, YouTube didn't cause it, if that makes sense. So let's dive in. I guess let's talk a little bit about some of what's changing. So within our YouTube system, what we're revamping, we'll start there.
Yeah.
So especially from the beginning, the early phases, our focus is on being as helpful as we possibly can and teaching you exactly what you need at each stage. So we've really streamlined that. I think there's a lot of stuff that, especially if you're just watching on YouTube and picking out random tips here and there, but also I think in some of the training that a lot of people give, there's a lot of stuff that it just doesn't matter until you kind of reach a certain point. And so the way we're structuring our YouTube system is going to give you a good quality baseline level of skill in the things that matter. And then we'll build on that over time. And there's just so much more guidance. Every time we tell you, okay, it's time to make your next video, there's guidance that's going to help you level up with every single one. I think it's going to help a lot. And then you want to talk about checkpoints?
Yeah.
I think that's important.
So a lot of what we changed about, especially the beginning phases of the system, is trying to make your chances of actually completing the entire YouTube system as high as possible. Because we see when people go through the whole course, they do well, but a lot of people just aren't able to maintain that consistency because growing a YouTube channel is hard, and a lot of people just kind of fall off the wagon. And so we asked ourselves, like, how do we make it as likely as possible that they will finish, that they don't just buy the course and never use it again, that they go through and they're engaged in the community and they continue to work on their channel long term. So Nathan actually did some research. I can't remember what the number was, but figured out the number that takes most people to monetize outside of our system is over 100. I think it was like 126.
Isn't that crazy?
Or something.
It's 126 videos you have to publish on average.
Yeah.
To get monetized on YouTube. Somewhere
around there. Over 100. It's crazy. It's a lot.
So the channel I started just over a year ago, Pantry Preparedness. Those of you who saw that challenge, I made 30 videos in 30 days. And so if you probably imagine those weren't the highest quality videos. The planning process was very short, the filming process, and then the editing. I didn't hand them off to a professional editor. I edited a lot of them myself, and then the rest of them I gave to another amateur editor, somebody who was new to editing, so that, again, it would be of that sort of level and quality. And that was the majority of the content I published in the first 4 months or so, because after that, it was kind of sporadic, maybe every other week on average. But like I went 3 weeks and then I did 2 in a row and then 3 weeks off. Anyway, not great. And still, in fewer than 50 videos, I don't remember the exact number, but in fewer than 50 videos, the channel was monetized.
Yep. And that's the goal we have for you. So if you join Project 24, we are guaranteeing you will be able to get monetized in your first 50 videos since joining Project 24. If you're already 50 videos in, obviously that's not going to work. And so that's what these checkpoints are for that Ricky mentioned. We have checkpoints so we can make sure you're really getting it, because we don't want you to make, 10, 20 videos and then suddenly realize, oh, you've been making this kind of obvious mistake, or the mistake that would at least be obvious to us,
Right.
in wasting time. So it's a lot better if we can catch things early on and help you tweak along the way. So it's not just that like we're available in the community. People always say that, like, oh, I'm in the community too. Like, we are asking you to reach out to us directly and do these checkpoints so that we can check where you're at and make sure that you are on track and that you are on a trajectory that's going to get you monetized in those first 50 videos. And we have a couple caveats to the 50 video guarantee, but it's really pretty reasonable.
Basically, you have to be trying and you have to have checked in with us. So, but yeah, you get to that point, and if it's not working and you're just like, I'm done with YouTube, I've tried everything, and we're like, yeah, it's just not working. Cool. We'll give you all your money back. I mean, there's literally no risk. Exactly.
Yeah.
Our goal is not to just be like, well, too bad, here's your money. It really is.
We're going to say, please keep trying. We'll help you. But if that even happens.
But we'll like directly coach you. So
yeah,
that's pretty awesome. I'm super excited for that. Super excited for what's coming. We are taking questions today. So this is a normal live, but we really wanted to kick it off and talk a little bit about changes, things that are coming. So if you have questions around that, that's probably what we'll focus on. But feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We also have a video coming out in about a week and a half that's going to walk through our strategy for new channels and channels that you want to grow. So hopefully that is all of you. But exactly the process that we're going to do it. So you get to see kind of behind the scenes of what we're showing people in Project 24. There's going to be a lot of really good nuggets in there. So watch for that. That'll be on the 25th. Yeah, I don't know. Anything more we ought to say about all that? We're ready to take your questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Send in your questions.
I mean, I do think that like we have that guarantee for your sake so that you feel comfortable trying and not worried about like, oh, what if it doesn't work? But we feel confident that it's going to work because we notice a lot of common themes of what holds channels back. One of them, like I said, is not publishing enough or not sticking with it. But aside from that, there's some common things we see over and over again, and we've gotten very efficient at identifying them. And so we have lessons around them in Project 24. And I think that helps people a lot. I mean, sometimes people say, yeah, just this lesson alone made my channel take off or was worth the cost of Project 24. But sometimes people kind of think they're applying the things and they didn't quite get it, or because of their niche or their personality, just like they just kind of missed the mark just a little bit. And we want to help you identify those things. So if you do join, I want you to be really active in the community so that we can help.
I've been super thrilled with how our challenge has gone the last 2 weeks. So we've been doing an on-camera challenge. Some of you are probably in there. And each day there's an exercise. It takes like 10 minutes that is intended to help you sort of, I don't know, get more comfortable and get all of the fear and anxiety and stuff out of the way so that you can just be you on camera. And it's been incredibly active. So as part of that challenge, instead of just being like an email a day where you get, here's an exercise, go do it. We actually have built it into our community. So there's a dedicated discussion board and everything for this entire challenge. And people are posting the videos that they're making and getting feedback from each other. And we're giving feedback. And I don't know, it's been amazing to see in 10 days, well, this today's only day 9, to see the growth that people are making and how much better that is when people are supporting each other and giving each other feedback. Because I don't know, when other people see, like, it's so much easier to see.
We were talking about that. Yeah. We were talking about that the other day where, maybe I think I'm too assertive and other people are like, no, if anything, be more assertive. And it's just so hard. So if you're trying to adjust for your own shortcomings when you're just guessing what they are, especially something like how you're perceived on camera, you might guess wrong and you might actually continue further in the wrong direction. So feedback's helpful.
Absolutely. I find it amazing how often, like, we're planning a video, I'll be planning a video and I'm just like, I'm just stuck. This isn't going to work. And then I talk to Julia and it's like, oh, well, did you think about this? and break through. And then the same thing happens the other way. It's like you just get so stuck when you're doing it alone, and we just don't want you to do it alone anymore.
Yeah.
So. All right. By the way, welcome to all of you pesky shadows. Hey, it's Gen XD. Hi, Matthew Harris. You're gonna grow in 2025. Waves and Games. We're glad you're here. Thanks. Liz is me. Thank you. See, Matthew Harris says, my channel is focused on legal education based in Texas. Off the top of your head, what would you consider to be an interesting legal topic for 2025 that could have intrigue internationally? Who?
I'm curious why. You might have a good reason, but I'm curious why you would be going for international intrigue.
Good question.
Wouldn't have to be, but the potential for growth would be higher. What do you think?
An interesting legal topic with international. I think if you want there to be something that's internationally intriguing, I think it's going to have to be based on something that's happening, whether it's a piece of news or a trend. And so I could see something around AI, because that's just huge and changing the entirety of the world that we live in. And so depending on kind of what legal route you go, there could be something around intellectual property. I don't know. I feel like there's a ton of different legal directions you could go, even just with AI. And that's just a huge trend.
Yeah.
Quite
good idea.
Thank you. At least it's an idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you pick up on a trend or a piece of news with international interest, that's where you're. And honestly, that's I think a good thing for any of us. If you're looking for something for a video that is going to get really picked up and a lot of people are going to be interested in, anytime you can piggyback on something that people are already talking about, but then you cover it from your angle.
And it doesn't have to be people in a legal niche.
True.
You could be noticing maybe people in a political niche or just other news type niches on YouTube and think, how can I put my legal spin on it?
Yeah.
This trend that's already trending. You don't have to look at things that only lawyers are talking about.
Right. And that's where it's like, oh, AI. Everybody's talking about AI. So take your legal spin on it, but it doesn't have to be like a straight up legal topic. Or if you can pick up on some sort of big scandal that's going on, some chemical company that's like making people sick or something, that could work.
He says, I just don't want to restrict my audience to Texas or US viewers. Yeah, I would definitely try to make sure you're not pigeonholed in Texas alone.
Right.
But the US is pretty massive as far as YouTube audience goes. So you can still grow really big just focusing on the US. And later on, if you wanted to try to expand, you could. But focusing on just the US is not a small starting point. So.
And if you pick a topic that, maybe it's kind of around US based laws, but it's a topic that you don't have to be in the US to be interested in. I think that it's not going to limit you, even if it's not directly targeting the world. I think that's a mistake some people make, is they want to target too broad of an audience. And so they try to make something that will appeal to everyone. And because of that, it appeals to no one. So just don't go that far.
Yeah.
All right.
Tech troublemaker. I'm about to hit 1,000 subs, but I have to keep working on my watch time. I am going to do a pivot on my video style. Also try to finally make time to make more vids. Cool.
Yeah. So watch time is what most people struggle with.
Ironically, not you.
I've never. Every time I get a channel to 1,000 subscribers, I've already hit the watch time.
Interesting. Yeah.
But almost. I remember when we did that on Backfire, people would ask about that, and I would just say, no, by the time you get to 1,000 subscribers, you'll have the watch time. And all of a sudden I learned that is not the case for most people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we definitely want to work on, and that's something that in Project 24 we focus on a lot. So it's like in the very beginning, we're talking like 4 or 5 videos. We're going to focus on really basic skills. Getting your lighting, your camera, your audio and stuff so that it just isn't bad, right? This is pretty good. And then we're immediately going to start jumping into ways that we're going to build more engagement and keep people watching longer. that's what you really need to do. I would focus a lot on good hooks for your videos. Like if you're getting subscribers and you're getting enough views, this is happening. So what we need is we need people to stay longer. So the first 15 seconds of your video, you've got to give them a reason to want to stay. So hook them with something, but it can't be something. I don't want to hook them with something that they're going to have to wait till the end of the video to get. People just get annoyed.
And never call it out directly. Don't
Yeah.
say keep watching because like be sneaky about it.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. It's just got to be something where they're just like, oh, I'm really curious now. I need to see where this is going. And then in the first segment of your video, you cover that thing. You like, they get and they feel satisfied. And right as they're starting to feel satisfied, you give them another hook for the next thing you're going to cover in the video. And so we do these like inter-video hooks. And so people they can't just skip ahead. They've got to watch the whole thing.
And a lot of angles, topics, video types that lend themselves well to longer videos.
Yes.
Because you will not get better watch time if you just drag a video out that really should have been short. But if you design a video around the intention of it being a longer video and you do that well, then you'll get more watch time because you'll have longer videos that are worth watching the majority of. So
that's it. Perfect. What's your take on animation channels that take a lot of effort? Should ask Cody about that.
Our editor does some amazing animations. I don't know. Does he have any tricks?
I don't know, because I think the biggest thing is probably going to be getting your system in place. Like you've been doing with your editing and stuff. Like you've got to have your system in place, because if you're going to have to take a lot of time every time you make a video on every step, it's just never going to get anywhere. Now I've got a friend with an animation channel. His is, it's animation. It's actually like 3D modeling. So he'll create a 3D model of something in Blender, and then he'll animate it and record that and then do voiceover. And it's the coolest stuff, right? It's like one of his earlier videos that took off was how a Rubik's Cube works. And so he like blows it up and takes it apart, and you see all the pieces and how they connect so that it can do all the movements it does. I think he did the Titanic sometime this year, like blew it up and showed all sorts of cool stuff. He spends a month per video, but he does such a good job that every one of his videos gets millions of views. So you just have to decide, like if it's I don't know, if it's that kind of channel, if it's those kind of videos that you just don't need that many of them, each one is gonna be awesome, you can get away with that. Otherwise, you got to simplify and streamline.
That's tough. Maybe we'll get Cody's input on if he knows any ways of automating and systematizing it, like you said.
Yeah.
If you can just make one thing faster, makes everything else faster from then on. So
I know he spent a lot of time like building his characters and stuff so that they're modeled, and then you can use the software to animate them pretty fast from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. So this was an idea, I think, for Matthew Harris. This is from This Is Me. How about the 2025 Australian election and the laws the current government's trying to cement in before the sitting minister gets voted out? Like that could be an interesting topic. And that is going to be interesting for Australians. It could have interest internationally as well, with other countries as well, but
probably lawyers internationally would find it interesting. I don't know if the average person would.
Yeah, but that's a cool idea. Yeah, news, things that are happening that, especially if there's any sort of controversy around it or questionable. I mean, how many people have made a lot of money making news media off of the U.S. election this time around, because it's like, ooh, it's so contested. Anyway. Yeah, Garvey says his animation like real 3D skits. Yeah, I mean it just takes a lot of work to animate. You're gonna have to streamline. All right, what's next? Data array. Oh, you guys are just awesome already, like communicating with each other right here in the comments.
Some Christy Odendel struck on what videos to make, or stuck probably. So far, everyone says to niche down, but I have a few crafts and don't want to pick just one. Spinning yarn, weaving, knitting, crochet, tatting, and
Bob and Lace. So those are all close enough. They're related enough, I think, that it can go together. Like if I'm interested, like not everybody that's interested in knitting is going to be spinning their own yarn, but people that spin yarn are probably going to be cool with knitting and crochet and weaving. Tatting and bob and lace also very closely related. So I don't know. I don't know. I on my own channel I do the same thing. It's like, oh, but I want to cover like all this stuff. Think about not too much about like making sure all the videos are on the exact same thing, but that they all will be appealing to the same people. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to help you the most, is just maybe just changing that frame of reference a little bit.
Even the kind of crafts you make, like, are you appealing to people who just have all the time in the world to do this? Are you appealing to beginners? Because beginners could want to learn about all those things, or people who are more advanced. There's ways to like to niche down while still doing all those things and not make it too broad, because you could make all those things too broad. Absolutely. Especially like even the style of the kind of things you make, like from video to video, would that style be probably appealing to both people? Or is this one like something you'd make for your grandma and this one's something you'd make for your daughter? I think that could play into it where you can make it more narrow without excluding crafts that you like.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So Nathan just told me that, so we keep having this problem that the camera likes to focus sometimes on these. And so I'm just gonna...
It's just trying to flex for us.
Yeah, the camera just really wants to show off our play buttons. I'm just gonna... Sorry, I'm just gonna move them aside for now. Okay. The Needle Filter says, will Project 24 just be YouTube, or does it still include building your website and socials like Pinterest? I'm sorry, I missed the start of live stream. We didn't answer this, and I think that's a great question to be asking. We're not cutting out any of the topics that we're covering. So we still have Pinterest and other social media, and we'll still do websites, how to build your website, creating blog content. Blogging has definitely been changing this year. AI threw a huge wrench in blogging, especially because people are inherently lazy. And so we've had numerous people out there just creating massive amounts of blog content with AI that led Google to a place where they just want proof that you're real and legitimate. And so the individual blogger doesn't stand a lot of a chance unless they build up a bit of a brand first. And YouTube is a great place to do that. So I've been telling bloggers for years, and now I'm telling them this is like your only choice. You have to build a social presence, and YouTube is probably, it's our favorite place to do that. So we're recommending people focus on YouTube, and then you can use your website and blog content as well, but use your website more as an amazing resource, a place to send people, a platform that you get to own, where you can capture people in an email list, you can sell them on memberships and digital products and all sorts of stuff. Having a good web presence is important. So that's still all there in Project 24, and will continue to be there. The huge revamp is to our YouTube system. We're just completely overhauling the whole thing because there's so much I don't know, that we have learned can just be way more helpful. And getting you the right training at the right time, and then also the right resources and support to help you along the way. So we mentioned this earlier, but we added a bunch of checkpoints where we say, at this point, you need to go check in the community, go create a thread, call it this, and then we'll know exactly what that is. And everybody else will know what that is. And we can all give you feedback at this stage to help make sure you're on track.
You don't have to even think of what to say.
Yeah.
Just say what we tell you.
And you don't have to feel awkward about it, because it's like, oh, everybody else does this too.
You're supposed to. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay. Joy Love C says, I have a luxury handbags channel, unboxings, reviews, etc., but there's only so many bags one can buy. Is it okay to mix in lifestyle videos like travel and fashion? Thank you. Who's this reminding you of?
HopeScope.
Yes.
I was exactly thinking this.
Yeah. So at Vid Summit, HopeScope spoke. And the entire talk was about how she started out doing leggings videos. She did a lot of videos on comparing leggings for a long time, years. And she kind of ran into the same problem. Like, there's only so many videos you can make about leggings. And even if new leggings keep coming out, does she want to just keep making videos about leggings forever exclusively? No. So she pivoted, and her entire talk was about how she pivoted. So I totally recommend you. I mean, you probably don't want to pay $1,000 just for that one talk because you can buy the replays from VidSummit. But I think if you did some research on YouTube, you'll find people talking about. You can probably find her interviewed by other people where it's public and things like that. But we can give you a little rundown.
That might be an interesting topic to talk about in a video sometime. Just not even necessarily her experience, because we've done pivots too. And we've seen lots of pivots, and there have been other presentations in the past at VidSummit on pivots that I really liked, but I really liked that talk, and it is exactly this. So she started mixing in other stuff, so and different styles and things.
And she showed a calendar. So it was like, at first she would do one video a month that was like lifestyle, and then the next month it was like 2 videos. And she just really slowly, until it was like 3 videos a week were lifestyle videos. So she really made sure to do it gradually enough that she didn't completely lose her old audience, and kind of like ease them into it and help the algorithm slowly find these new people, instead of like all of a sudden her current audience isn't watching any of the videos, and like that's too jarring, and then you'll stop getting impressions. So
yeah, the right approach really depends on the kind of pivot you're making. In this case, it's adjacent to the most of the current audience would want to go with her, right? And so you ease them in. And actually, this has been in Project 24 for a few years, but you just kind of guide them through it, and you don't even necessarily say, this is what I'm doing. You just kind of shift it.
And keeping that avatar in mind, like you said. So she's making videos thinking, what videos would people who like my videos like? And you want to be careful about this, because I've seen people fall into the trap where they're like, well, again, my grandma wears leggings and she likes, this off the wall thing that the majority of your audience still wouldn't like. You have to be realistic with yourself and say, the majority of my audience, who is this person, and would they like this other video I'm about to make? So you have to think about all kinds of things about where they're at in their life and who this person is, so that it's not just like, well, somebody who likes leggings could hypothetically also like this video. Like, no, the majority of the people that like luxury handbags that are currently watching my luxury handbag videos, from what I know about them, I think they will also like this other video.
Right. Then there's the pivots where it's like, no, we're just dramatically changing everything. So last year there was a talk from Kimberly that was about, she literally went from, she would like review everything around her house, and then got known as the pop sockets lady, because she did like so many videos about pop sockets for your phones, right? And then she decided, like, she's a lawyer, right? So she's like, this isn't what I want to do. So she decided to turn her channel into a true crime channel, telling true crime stories. Like, such a big change. Most of the audience wasn't going to go with her. So what did she do? She's like, this is what my channel is now, and removed her old videos, and just, this is where we're going forward. And some people stuck with her because they liked her, but she just knew right off the bat, the majority of people weren't coming along for the ride, and that was okay. That's the other type of pivot. So anyway, it might be kind of cool to break down a little bit more in a future video.
Urban Harvest, there's more questions about, but Urban Harvest just gave some input. He says, I think it depends on your niche and how you position yourself. I have a friend that completely pivoted, but his main focal point was him and his personality. So switching to different videos that were, I think.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Maple Ridge Homestead, we have an off-grid homesteading channel, but in the winter we're focusing on home renovation projects, not homesteading or off-grid related at all. I think, so that's tricky. We were just talking about this for our preparedness channel, because it's like, it's winter time. And we've been doing a lot of content around gardening and growing food and stuff, but we don't do a whole lot of that in the winter. So what are we going to do? And the cool thing is that people that are into homesteading are often into doing things themselves, right? So home renovation, even though it's not the same topic, there's going to be a fair amount of overlap. maybe not 100%. So just keep that in mind.
And they're also not doing a lot of outdoor big projects in the winter either.
Right.
So they're not going to want to watch that as much.
That's true. Yep. So home renovation, it's not too bad.
You're welcome, Joy. Thank you, Nathan, for finding that link.
Oh yeah,
Daryl
perfect.
Eves interviewing Hope Scope, exactly what we're talking about. You probably get the majority of it just by that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our breakdown.
I think the next question here is from Jen Shashin. I run a gaming channel, but I've been thinking of making vids that are more about sharing my experience as an editor while making my videos. Is it better to make a second channel rather than mixing the two topics? What do you think? They have a gaming channel, but now they want to talk about editing gaming videos or editing videos or making videos.
I would probably keep them separate.
I agree. I was just curious if you would think the same
Yeah.
thing. It's a different enough topic. I don't think people that were watching gaming content, for the most part, you're not going to keep the same people.
And you can mention it, like you can put it as a link in your description. So people that are really attached to just you, there's something to that, like what Urban Harvest said. Like sometimes people get so attached to your personality that they'll watch anything you make. And you'll have a couple of those people when you're small. You'll have a substantial audience of those people when you're big enough to support a channel. And so you do want people to be aware of it from both channels so that they can go watch your other stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as the algorithm's concerned, inspiring a new audience and growing your channel, I would do two channels for that.
Yeah. And these, like with these, I wouldn't be worried at all about talking about one on the other and kind of inviting people back and forth, because they're not dramatically different. I am careful, like when you start a new channel, if you can already give it a bit of an audience, like that can save you months of audience growing, because the algorithm is going to figure it out so much faster. But if you start a new channel that's on a like too different of a topic, and so people go check it out because they like you, but they're not the kind of people that are going to keep watching, that could confuse the algorithm and can be worse. And so like when I started a preparedness channel, I was like, don't think I'm going to go talk about this on my blogging channel. It's just like, I'm going to get a flood of traffic over there. A lot of people will watch a video just to see, and then like, that's it. They'll never watch another one. And the algorithm is going to get confused. The cool thing is that people that liked me, I would talk about these projects and stuff, but I really wouldn't push people over. And some people just went and found it, even though I didn't say its name for like a year. I didn't say its name. And people just went and found it, and they're regular viewers, but they're the people who liked me and were interested enough in the topic that they stuck around. And so that was good. So I think it still probably helps a little bit, but definitely, like, if there's a significant or a potentially significant audience overlap, encouraging that early viewership can grow your channel a lot faster.
Yeah. Helpful. Okay. Data Ray asked, okay, here's a question for you guys. If we pitch our own product or website, do we have to check that box saying it's a promotion or not?
I don't, because I basically, in some way, we usually mention or promote our own stuff in every video. That's like why we have a channel.
Yeah. If someone's not paying you to make the video,
right,
so you're fine.
Yeah. The purpose of that is essentially to disclose to the viewer that you have a financial incentive to, like, if you're recommending a product, you have a financial relationship, so you're benefiting. And that's it's supporting rules from the Federal Trade Commission. Essentially, like, if I'm telling you this is such an awesome product, you should have Diet Pepsi, which they didn't pay me to say that to you. I'm just using it as an example. I promise. But if that were the case, you might go away thinking like, oh man, Ricky loves Diet Pepsi. Maybe I should try Diet Pepsi, and not realize that I'm telling you that because Diet Pepsi is going to pay me for every can you buy, which they're not. Again, disclosure. So the FTC has rules around that. You have to disclose when you're.
But if you're saying, I wrote an ebook, go check it out, obviously you're biased. Right?
Well, and it's your product, so it's not like there's just no question. Yeah. There's no question there that there's
somebody. Yeah, you're getting money from it, obviously, because you're selling your own thing.
Right. No, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. Education Lover says, how do we complete 4,000 watch hours? How do you first get your 4,000 watch hours on YouTube? That's a really big question. And we have a couple videos about it.
And we also talked about it earlier in this live. I'm not sure if you were here or not. Maybe that's why they're asking.
Oh, probably.
Because...
Yeah, you could go back and watch that. Really, we just got to get people to watch our videos longer. We gave some specific actionable ways to do that.
Yeah. We have a lot about planning video types in Project 24 to get those 4,000 watch hours.
Do we have information on when YouTube's going to start simultaneous translation from minor languages? I don't think we know anything about the timeline for that.
No, they told me that it would be most of those features that they announced that made on YouTube would be releasing by the end of this year. Do I believe them? No.
and that was only like the bigger languages that they were showing. So that was like Spanish, French, Portuguese. Yeah, and we haven't heard anything about that since made on YouTube. There
are some third-party tools you have to pay for, but they're pretty good. You could use, I can't remember the name. Nathan would know. Let us know, Nathan, if you're still there. That do the same thing. You just have to pay for them. If you really want to reach out to the audience, it might be worth just using those. And then when YouTube comes out with their version for free, if it's just as good, you decide to use it, then you can stop paying. But
yeah, that's a good point.
I can try to find out more about when they'll release it, but
yeah,
they don't know either. Usually they have these deadlines.
I was gonna say, when they give you a date, that means they're maybe kind of certain, but even then, it's not for sure.
Yeah, that means there might be a rough draft launched by then.
Yeah, if they're like, oh, these should be ready by the end of the year, what they meant was the first version should be out by the end of Q1, and it might work.
Yeah. I don't envy software engineers.
It's so, yeah.
It must be hard.
It's hard because everything can work, and then you get people using it like at scale, and everything breaks, and then and people will find, like, you'll try to test for all the bugs and all the ways people can mess it up, and then you realize that nope, there are 1,000 more ways people could mess it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see.
They did say that the more minor languages were in the works, though.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it won't be too far off from the launch. I'd almost guess that the launch of all of it will take a while, but then after that, maybe they'll get more languages more quickly.
I would imagine so, because the AI tools are getting so good at this.
Right.
So
why would it be?
I can't imagine it's that much harder to add, especially like the next level of languages that are still pretty common, like Italian and German, and even a lot of Asian languages, Japanese and Korean and Chinese, Mandarin, and anyway.
Yeah. Thank you, Nathan.
There we go. There's some options right there.
100 languages. Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, so there's a few here. And he gives the caveat, we haven't actually used them. So this isn't an endorsement. It's just, there's some to go try. Let's see, Rhino Man Show. I do a slot channel that only focuses on Buffalo Gold videos. When I post a different slot video, it only gets 100 views versus a Buffalo Gold video that gets 2,000 views. Should I do another channel? This is a place where you could try pivoting a little bit, as long as, again, I don't know enough about slots to know why it would make a difference.
Yeah.
Why Buffalo Gold would be so different. It seems to me that you ought to be able to introduce other videos and just kind of work them in and grow that over time. But it could just be that I'm ignorant about the topic. So I wish I could tell you more. Yeah.
I mean, those seem to be the ones you see the most often from someone that doesn't play slots. So maybe if you think about what that would have in common with other slots, like, are there others that are close to just as common? Or if you can figure out why, can you figure out why that does well? Like, we do this on our own channels. We're like, well, why does, this thing always work? And then we realize, well, it's because the problem the person really has is this. And so then it suddenly opens up more video options. So if you can figure out, maybe people are playing Buffalo Gold because, I don't know, there's a higher cap on the winnings or something like that. Like, try to figure out what it is that's actually motivating them to care about that more than the other ones. And then see if there's other video options, topic options based on that deeper motivation of your viewers.
Yeah.
That's what I would suggest. Sorry, we don't know more about it.
Ask me about yarn and crochet and knitting, and I just,
you can go all day.
a little bit, it's a little bit embarrassing maybe, but I grew up with 4 sisters and a crafty mom. So I know a lot about camping and outdoors. I know a lot about preparedness, that kind of stuff. I know a lot about crafty stuff, and I know a lot about YouTube.
You know a lot about a lot. You know a lot about music.
I just don't know a whole lot about gambling at all. Sorry. You're right. Music. There's a lot of things that I've been interested in over the years that I have done a deep dive into.
Yeah.
But
But
slots is just not one of them. I'm sorry.
Jump into Project 24. We'll do some research. We'll learn about slots for you.
Okay.
Also, we've never heard of that niche.
No.
We would have researched it a bit if we've ever heard of it, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, is like, you can make content about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, pick your niche. That's an important thing, is like, a good idea is a combination of like the topic, the concept, and like a good delivery. And you can take like any concept. Nathan was saying this, I think just yesterday. He was like, there are no bad ideas or at least there's no bad topics or concepts. You can make it really interesting and successful on YouTube, basically, no matter what it is.
They're mostly, I would argue, they're all bad ideas to start with.
That's a good point.
And a lot of people don't continue. And so most videos on YouTube are bad ideas, not the ones you're going to see suggested, because by the time YouTube's suggesting it, it's already identified that it's getting clicks. And so it's a good idea. But a lot of people make videos that are a good idea that it wasn't finished yet. And so it's a bad idea. Okay, this one, I'm excited for this one. When it comes to thumbnails, some people have told me that aesthetically pleasing a thumb doesn't really matter. Sorry, you kind of broke up. Versus how clickable it is. Yes and no. So I think if they're aesthetically pleasing, at least to some degree, that is not the most important thing, but it helps the eyes stop scrolling on the page. So you're on your homepage and you're scrolling videos from the perspective of the viewer, and there are so many options, and you might be surprised that you're not even taking in all the thumbnails on every page. You are scrolling before you have even processed probably half of the thumbnails, because some of them just blend in and they don't grab your attention right away. There's so much to compete with. And so the ones that look more aesthetically pleasing, especially simple, they don't have to be amazingly designed, but if they're simple, they have some negative space, it's more likely to stop your eyes from scrolling. Colors that work well together.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they stop scrolling, they take a look at it. It doesn't matter how aesthetically pleasing it is.
Right.
It matters much more how intriguing it is. And if paired with the title, it's compelling for them to click on it. But really ugly thumbnails, people just completely don't see, or they see it and they kind of assume like it's a really amateur channel. They just don't even give it the chance. So there's a balance for sure.
Yeah. I think it's like a lot of things, and you'll hear us talk about this in videos, especially one that's going to be coming soon on this channel, where there are a lot of skills where it's like, you need to meet a baseline proficiency for it to be good enough. And when it comes to thumbnails, like I remember we said this in this video that is going to come out, but a lot of times a screen capture from the video can be a better thumbnail than what a lot of people are making in Canva, because it can be really bad. And it's not just like being super aesthetically pleasing isn't the point, being eye-catching. And so if it just looks really bad and super amateur, that reflects on the video instead. And if it blends in, nobody will notice it. Those are the things that matter more. And then is it like, all that matters is how clickbaity it is. You got to catch their attention first. And then if it's too clickbaity and you don't deliver on that promise, then that just makes people mad. So we got to find the right balance of all these things.
Mhm.
That's why we made a long video about thumbnails,
Huge.
because there's so much that goes into it. If you haven't watched it, you should, because we covered so much.
And it's still just the most important things. We wanted to cover more, but we were like,
Yeah,
we can't put.
We had to
everything
cut
in
so
it.
much. Oh boy.
Matthew Harris says, I would love to see a series where you take a smaller channel under your wing to build them to monetization, and the behind the scenes videos of the effort along the journey. We may be playing around with some stuff like this already. The problem is we don't have a lot of time. We never have enough time for all the things we want to do. That is a great idea, and we will keep it in mind and try to do more of it.
Right.
We may.
So one of the things that we want to be able to offer is coaching, like individual coaching, not just like a consult where we meet with you one time, but where, we have touch points and we work with you on specific things on your channel and guide it over the course of months. And so we may already be working with a couple of channels, doing exactly this type of thing, and trying to guide them through, not necessarily to monetization. One that we're working with, I mean, he's already monetized, but the channel isn't growing.
Feels like he's struggling a lot.
So yeah, we're doing some of this, and I think we will definitely be talking about it. But like you said, I wish we had more time.
I know. You said series, and I just had this dream of like 12 videos with 12 different creators. That can't happen right now. I wish. Would love it. Let's see. Maple Ridge Homestead. Our recent video had a horrible CTR, but a high view duration and high engagement. So we decided to change the title and thumbnail after 4 days. It now looks like impressions have almost stopped. So often the reason for that is not necessarily the title and the thumbnail. It's the original topic or angle of the video. If you, I know you put a lot of work in that video, but if you feel like you could almost use that same topic and take a different angle on it, that would be more intriguing, more clickable, or even just let that one go. And for videos in the future, try to take a more intriguing angle.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get a high view duration when you have a low click-through rate, mostly because the people that did want it, they were the ones that were going to watch the whole thing, right? So with every video, and I think this is something that we may often forget when we're looking at our analytics, but with every video, there's a mix of people. There's the people who are going to click in and leave within the first 30 seconds. Everybody's audience retention graph, like every video, is going to have a pretty steep drop off in the first 30 seconds. It's just a question of, was I able to keep 70% of people? That means 30% of people on every video, at least, probably took off. Like they barely were there. And then you've got the people who will watch, but they'll kind of scroll, skip through, find what they want and leave. And then you got the people that are just going to watch the whole thing. And then there's a whole mix in between, right? Well, on a video that doesn't get a lot of clicks, it's probably more your more loyal audience, or the people who that video was exactly what they were looking for. So it may not be a video that had as broad of appeal. So because fewer people clicked on it, the ones that did, though, are the ones that were more likely to watch longer. And so sometimes those analytics, when we look at them kind of in isolation, you're like, why isn't YouTube spreading this video? The people that watch it for a long time. Yeah, but other people just aren't even clicking at all. And so
usually when click-through goes down, watch time goes up. Watch time percentage.
Right. Yeah.
Average view percentage. Yeah.
Now if you have a video that's getting more views than normal and the average view duration is a little bit above normal, I see those videos just take off, because that just means that YouTube's showing them to the normal people and they're all watching it an average of a little bit longer. Oftentimes a day, 2 days, 3 days, even a month or two into the video, you'll see YouTube's like, okay, yeah, people generally like this one better. They watch it longer, and a wide group of people watch it longer. So then it just goes. So something to think about.
Let's actually take this one real quick because it's relevant to what we're just talking about, and then we'll go back up to Rhino Man. Matthew Harris says, what are your thoughts on turning notifications off when publishing a video so you don't dilute the CTR from the less devoted subscribers?
Most of the time, I wouldn't do this. There are specific instances, like I just said in a video, if you're trying to put out long shorts. I'm doing this because I want that video to mostly go on the short. It's a different, little bit different video than my subscribers with content that's different than what they expect. So I uncheck the box. But most of the time, I would want to notify my subscribers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is considered a good AVD? So average view duration is a good average view duration is very relative to the length of the video.
Yeah.
Average view percentage is probably a better thing to consider.
Yeah, which is a little tricky because, like, if you put out an hour-long video and it gets 3 minutes more watch time than your 10-minute video, YouTube still might spread the hour-long video more. And so, like, average view duration really is like what we want more of,
Yeah.
but it just varies so much. So, like, on pantry preparedness, like, it's pretty normal for them to be around 2 minutes. On channel makers, it's more like 4.5. On income school, I think it's more like 6. It just varies so much from channel to channel. Part of that on income school is because those videos are mostly just me and I talk a lot. So they're longer. It just takes me longer to get to the point. And people that watch those videos are used to that and put up with it, I guess.
I'd say just compete against yourself.
Yeah.
Like your previous month's average view duration. Try to make longer, more meaty videos if you're really trying to up your watch time. If you're trying to get to like 4,000 hours or something, make sure you're putting enough substance in the video instead of just dragging out
Yes.
a topic don't get too distracted by like, oh, if I make a longer video, I get a little bit more watch time, because it's a balance with the percentage. I think the watch time is more important, but you don't want to just like let your percentage tank.
It is a balance. If you make 3-minute videos and you're getting a 2.5-minute average view duration, like that's going to be really good, because it's a high percentage of the video. So it is definitely a balance. Yeah, along those lines, making longer videos is great for getting more watch time and getting longer average view durations, but only if people will want to watch them. So if you're going to make longer videos, make sure that those videos are longer because they really should be longer, and that they're entertaining and engaging the whole time. You certainly don't want to just drag things out, like Julia said. Joy Love C asked, they were trying to check what channels their audience watches through YouTube Studio, but it said not enough data to show this report. Why is that? It really is probably just because you don't have enough data. So if your channel is relatively new, probably if you're not to the point, I don't know at what point you start to get enough data, but usually by the time you get to the YouTube Partner Program, there are enough people watching your channel that they can get that. But if right now you just don't have a lot of different people watching your videos, YouTube may still be having a hard time figuring out what your audience has in common. So, if there's 100 people watching your videos, but those 100 people have diverse interests, YouTube's trying to figure out what their biggest commonalities are to be able to give you a report of the channels that are most viewed by your audience. They want to help you find the channels that have the same audience as you. And if they don't have enough data, they're not going to be confident to give you an answer.
Is there value in updating thumbnails of older vids that are no longer getting much views? Yeah. If you think it's a good video, it's worth the time. You put all that effort into the video. So I wouldn't do it at the expense of your regular publishing schedule. But if you could find time, especially to start with the ones that you think are better videos, maybe ones that got more views initially, better watch time, and try it. Especially if you think you know more about thumbnails. That's another thing. I wouldn't just take another shot in the dark. You never know for sure what's going to work. But if you look back on your old thumbnails and you think, oh man, I was such an amateur. I know so much more now about how to make good thumbnails. Go fix them.
Yeah.
If you are still kind of I could change it, I'll guess, then go learn more about how to make good thumbnails. And then when you're ready to be like, I know how these could be way better, then go fix them.
Great advice. Yep. let's see. Do you guys work directly with channels behind the scenes or just produce content for everyone? So inside Project 24, we give feedback and stuff. We participate in the community. We do mastermind calls where members can work with each other and with us, ask their questions and stuff. But also, we are now adding to Project 24 checkpoints where people can post, like there's specific spots in the training where we say, okay, we want you to go into the community and post this, and everyone will know what it is and we'll give you feedback. So those are more kind of like where we can help a lot of people. It's kind of like the content for everyone, like you were just asking. We also do right now, like you can consult with us where we spend some time going over strategy, looking at your channel, doing that kind of stuff, but it's kind of a one-off thing. We're developing a coaching program and are working one-on-one with a channel or two, not a whole lot. But yeah, that's something that we're open to, especially if there's a lot of interest in it, and we're working on developing something that can be affordable, but also something that will be really helpful to you. Yeah. There's a balance there because our time is obviously very limited. And so it's like, you know, how much can we work with someone one-on-one and make it really useful for them, but also not have to charge you crazy, stupid amounts of money?
Yeah. If it was just our hourly rate for the hour consults and then doing multiple check-ins a week, or that would get too expensive really fast. So we're really working on that. We're trying to figure out how to make it feasible and helpful and affordable. So excited about that. Let's see, in the paper closet, I do crafting tutorials. My question about category education or how to in lifestyle. Nothing for hobby or crafts. So are you trying to figure out maybe which one you should do, education or how to in lifestyle?
I think that's the question here. So you're doing crafting tutorials. Do you want to, should you focus on education or how to in lifestyle?
Maybe clarify for us.
Yeah, maybe clarify, how can we most help you there? Summer Beauty says, do you think there's still room on YouTube for heavily scripted content, or does everything have to be organic talking head right now? Am I wasting my time doing scripted videos? You absolutely can script your content.
Yeah, tons of people do it. There's some strategy behind it. You do want to try to make it feel as casual as possible, I imagine. I don't know your channel, but looks like you have a beauty channel. I think I've seen you on here before. Seen that less often in the beauty industry. So it might be worth trying out unscripted just to see if you can do it, if you like it, if it gets more views. Just try it for a couple videos. Maybe it's faster for you. But if you really want to script, you can absolutely do that.
Yeah. And if you want to move away from, if it feels too heavily scripted, especially, again, looking at your niche and your industry and looking at the other videos that do really well, if yours feel too formal and too rigid, then you might work on more of a skeleton script or an outline. So I called it a skeleton script because I still sometimes what we'll do is, especially for parts of videos, we'll script out exact wording for specific things that we just want to really nail down. And then we'll leave parts that are much more open. But we'll still plan out a lot of times, like, these are the examples I want to give or the stories I want to tell, but won't necessarily write them out word for word. So you just want to find the balance that works for you, but also that works for your audience. So in the paper closet says yes. So what they're after is education or how to in lifestyle. Okay, both can work. The more kind of on the education and tutorial side of things that you go, the more your content will do well in search, especially.
Oh, I think they're saying, what do you select when you upload? Which category when I upload, or does it even matter?
I don't think it really matters.
No.
Pick one.
Yeah.
For that one, I would probably do how to and lifestyle. For tutorial, Education, I would think, is a little bit more like formal education. I would often even classify what we do as a little bit more education because we don't really go very far in the lifestyle. But for a lot of tutorials, especially around any sort of hobby, I think how to and lifestyle, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Christy O'Dendel says, one of my 2025 crafting projects is to revamp my wardrobe, and I'm considering making videos on it. So far, I've not found videos similar to it. That's interesting. Are you talking about like making a video about the actual clothes that you're tossing out and replacing it with, or you mean like
I totally went to like
remodeling the
refinishing the wood on the
closet?
wardrobe.
Yeah. That's probably what it is.
I'm actually assuming that it probably is like changing out all the clothes.
I would think there'd be videos on both of those. I don't know if I've seen complete wardrobe overhaul videos, but I've definitely seen people who go through the whole wardrobe, who are usually minimalist, and they show the different pieces and how they pair them together and maybe what it costs them overall. And then like woodworking or whatever that would be. There should be videos on both of those. I'm surprised you haven't found any. Maybe keep looking.
Yeah.
If there's no videos on that topic, that can be risky.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think?
I would be surprised if there aren't other videos on a like a fashion overhaul or a, I'm changing everything. That seems like a compelling topic. Like I wouldn't be worried about making that. Normally, like if you can't find anybody that's made a video on a topic, especially in a fairly common niche, to me that it means that it's probably not super interesting, or there's not a lot of people that want to see that. I don't know. To me, this feels like a compelling thing as long as you can present it in a way that feels really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Matthew Harris mentions he's really heavily scripted because he's talking about the law and he doesn't want to get it wrong.
Smart.
And it does help with editing. When you're, when you're kind of free flowing it, editing can get complicated because if you do 2 takes, they won't be the same. And if you decide you want to trim something up or make it a little bit shorter, it can be hard to trim out just a little bit of it. When it is really scripted, editing can be a lot cleaner. So that is something to think about for sure. Jesse's Motivation says, greetings. I just started uploading to my channel recently. Should I use my phone or my laptop for uploads? I do motivational videos. How can I expand my reach to get subscribers without posting links? So using your phone or your laptop, that just depends. I guess I'm old school. I've always like put the files onto the computer, edit it there. But then you got Nathan who's like will film on his phone and do the whole process on his phone, upload from his phone.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Especially like shorts. He does it for the Amazon influencer program. And I think he maybe does it for some YouTube, like long form. I don't know if he's doing it for his long form videos. That can simplify your process quite a bit. And anything you can do to speed it up and simplify is maybe a good thing, especially in the beginning.
I'd say if it helps you be consistent, use the phone.
Yeah.
Until you get to a point where you're seeing cool stuff other people are doing, you really want to do that cool stuff, and you know you can't pull it off on your phone. You're
going to be way more limited on your phone. That's what you can do. Even like what you can see. So if you edit something on your phone and then somebody's watching it on their TV, they're going to see stuff you could not see on that tiny screen. And that can be problematic sometimes. Let's see. Do you have a program that's just for learning how to make thumbnails? I feel that's my biggest struggle since people keep saying my videos are good, but the thumbnails are so bad. We don't have anything like that completely broken out yet. It's not a bad idea.
Do another 10-day challenge.
That would be good.
Just like we just did a 10-day on camera challenge with daily challenges, like little community, and that'd be cool for thumbnails. But yeah,
that would be really cool for thumbnails.
There's an endless amount. So
yeah, we had another one recommended to us already too. So there will be more challenges forthcoming. That would be a good way to do that too.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a boot camp, and you're just going to get each day a new thing, a new skill to add in.
Stay tuned.
Yep. Yeah, which category when I upload? Yeah. Sewing and making new clothes for their wardrobe.
Oh,
Planning
okay.
to fit an aesthetic.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
so making your new, that's cool. Yeah, that I probably haven't seen a lot.
I'd actually, even if you haven't seen that video though,
Like it's
that'd
gonna
be
work,
cool.
or it can work for
Maybe
sure.
break it down into multiple videos so you could have one big video, but get more than one video out of it if you're gonna be making your entire wardrobe.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. Find a way to. It can be tricky to do a series like that, like a bunch of videos. If you're just gonna do like, today I'm making this shirt, and then the next, like, you know what I mean? Like you can take this whole story and have kind of a story arc of like, here's what I'm clearing out and why, and this is the aesthetic I'm going for, kind of an overall. But then you can have some where like you kind of group parts of the project together so that you're not just dragging it out forever. But I would not just make one video out of this. Let's see, what else have we got?
Next session. When we have the next session? Like the next live? Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean. Player 2.0, when will we have the next session?
As far as lives go, we do it kind of randomly.
Yeah, I think we'll probably go live at least a couple times in December. Right now, we're publishing on the channel usually twice a week, but sometimes we'll do live instead. And I think probably at least twice in December we'll go live. The new YouTube system content in Project 24 will be there for basically the week of Thanksgiving. In fact, I think I'll probably have it in there sooner than that. So people that are already in Project 24, you'll be able to see the new stuff as it starts to roll out. The old one will stay there for now as well. But yeah, it's coming really soon.
Do you want to talk about the video?
Yeah.
Coming up?
Yeah. So November 25th, the video that we'll publish on this channel at its normal time I'm going to go through basically our entire strategy for starting and growing a channel. So that probably applies to all of you. And basically it's going to walk you through an overview and give specific guidance for each phase of the process, but an overview of everything that we do in Project 24, the timeline and what we do and when and why and how. So it's a big video. Basically, this is the strategy for how you grow a YouTube channel. And so no matter where you're at, if you're starting a brand new channel, I'm going to point out to you, like, these are the things you need to focus on in the very beginning. Forget about all the other stuff. Just focus on this. Let's get your channel going. And then I'm going to tell you, these are the skills to work on. And then we'll build upon that phase by phase by phase so that you have a plan for growing your YouTube channel. And if you're like, oh, well, I'm at phase 3 right now. Cool. Great. You're going to start there. And I'm going to tell you, here's what to focus on. And you'll see, here's all the stuff you should already know. Hopefully you do. If you don't, get it down. And then phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, and so on. So my goal is to give you a plan for how you're going to grow your channel as we go forward into the new year. So
it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
It'll be really helpful. Thank you guys for participating. It was cool to see how much you were helping each other and good ideas. Yeah. The more ideas, the better. We don't think of all the ideas. And so when we get your input, we appreciate it so much.
And apparently we don't know everything because we're not very familiar with slots. So
that's true.
It's incredibly helpful how
I thought we knew everything until I heard that.
Yeah, I know. There's one thing we don't know everything about. Just kidding. There's a lot.
Cool. Well, we would love to see any of you in Project 24. I mean, you can get in there before we launch the revamp as well.
Yeah.
Or wait till the revamp. But we have a lot of fun in Project 24. We have to get off of here because Nathan has a mastermind coming up. We're not sure if the mastermind or the internet can handle 2 lives at once. But yeah, he's going to be talking to our members and helping them out.
Yeah.
So we have to split our time between public content and course stuff and helping members individually. We're busy. It's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
And it's fun to spend time with all of you. So thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. You're so welcome.
We'll do this again soon.
See you guys.